Nathan Graves, 989, interviewer and spokesman for the Abridged community. Lanipator.
Hey guys, this is Nathan Graves 989, and I'm here with the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho Abridged, Lanipator. Lani, thank you for your time.
No problem, man.
Alright, my first question is, what inspired you to make an Abridged series?
Well, it all started about 1 year ago in a couple of weeks, and I was playing rugby and injured myself pretty badly and had a lot of free time, so spent a lot of time on the internet, caught wind of Little Karibo's Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, and thought that was good, and then I started finding others like HBI 2K's Berserk and Moscow and Vegeta's Naruto Abridged, and just thought, hey, I got a lot of free time and I had the means to make one, so why not? And popped out my pilot episode and just went on from there. Apparently people liked it, so I kept going.
Why Yu Yu Hakusho exactly?
I always loved that show when I was 8 or 10 or something, when it was running on Toonami the first time I saw it, or maybe it was it started on Adult Swim, that's right, then shifted to Toonami. But yeah, they never made it all the way through the series, and eventually I caught the rest of the episodes, but I just loved that series back when it was on. So I thought, you know what, nobody has really tried it, so I went for it.
What's the process you go through to make an episode?
Well, it all kind of starts when I get the motivation to make one. That can take anywhere from a day to a couple of weeks if I can't get inspired. But yeah, mainly I just start by writing the episode, or in most cases just coming up with a couple of big jokes and then filling in the empty space. Then I record it and edit it. Post it. That's pretty much it.
How do you come up with your jokes?
A lot of the times it's just stuff that's going around in my head, or a pop culture reference that I really like, and other times it's just when me and my friends are talking, I'll get inspired from something that we say there, or I'll like crack a joke and think, hey, I can use that somewhere, and then I'll find a place for it. Other times I just find other jokes that already exist and then modify them slightly.
Who's your favorite character to voice?
I'd say out of the voices that I have in Yu Yu Hakusho, probably easily it'd have to be Kuwabara. But if you go into DBZ, then it doesn't really get much funner than when you're like doing a death scream as Piccolo. Those are always fun.
What about the hardest character to voice?
Hardest character to voice? At times it can be Hiei, because sometimes when I'm doing Hiei, it'll slip back into Yusuke, because really Hiei is just like a more intense version of Yusuke for me. But the hardest one on the voice would have to be either Rando or Genkai, just because it's like really scraping on the vocal cords.
What Abridged series are you currently watching?
Oh man, currently watching Real DBZ Abridged by Skins. I don't know his numbers. He has a couple of numbers on his name. I really hope they make more episodes. Obviously Naruto Abridged and Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged and Berserk Abridged up until it was finished, and I'm hoping HBI makes some more stuff because I loved his work. And more recently, KaiserNeko's Lupin the Third Abridged is just awesome. Oh, and Team Databayo's Death Note, and yeah, I've also watched some of the Council of Boosh and Goodies stuff, like G Gundam. I've got a couple of Kenpo's Bleach, and yeah, I've also caught some episodes of Mega Man Abridged. Those are pretty much the ones I've watched recently.
What other anime do you watch?
I do tend to stick around like shonen anime. I'm not like a huge anime file. I'm not going beyond my realm of like what I got already. I mean, I tend to stick with what I've already seen, like Outlaw Star, Yu Yu Hakusho, Berserk, Dragon Ball Z. More recently, I've been rewatching a lot of Rurouni Kenshin.
Are there anime that you just cannot stand?
I'm not a huge fan of Bo.
Are there Abridged series that you think are overrated or underappreciated?
There are quite a few that are underappreciated. HBI 2K's Berserk being one of them. As much as I love his series, I would have to say that some of Little Karibo's more recent work has been getting, like, as much as he has, like, a lot of his older work, I loved his Duelist Kingdom stuff, but more recently it has begun to kind of slip, overusing many jokes he's already done. Not that I'm not guilty of that, but, I mean, like, he basically drove In America into the ground by now, and then he brought it back when Panda Keith came back. But yeah, that has to be overrated in a sense, just because so many people out there are like huge fans of his, and it's just like, oh my god, if anybody uses a joke even remotely similar to something that he's done, they crack the whip down. Who gives a crap? Move along.
Are there any jokes that you regret or you didn't find all that funny?
Not really. I tend to just stick with what I really want to make, and if I'm happy with the finished product, Doesn't really bother me if like some people don't like a joke here or there.
Pirates or ninjas?
Oof, that's a tough one. Depends on the terrain. You see, if you're going on land, I'd have to go with ninjas. But when you're on like ship-to-ship battle, like at long distance, I'm going with pirates. That's like asking zombies versus sharks.
Do you have a favorite joke?
There's one coming up that I can't really say right now, but it's going to be in the Tree of Might that I really, really like.
Do you have any voice actors that you look up to for influence?
Oh, yeah. I mean, hell, half the stuff I do is just impersonating a lot of them. I mean, there's Chris Sabat, Justin Cook, obviously, Chuck Huber, John Bergmeyer, Kyle Hebert, who I'm still very thankful for doing that cameo for us.
How did you meet Vegeta and Masako?
Well, it was kind of funny. I mean, I put out my first episode. I didn't expect very many people to, like, watch it or comment on it. Hell, I didn't even know if it was going to be very good or not in the public eye, but it turns out Moscow caught my work and actually like commented on it. I was like really shocked when I saw his comment on there, and then we just kind of got in contact from there and started talking to them. It was cool, and then we just kind of became online buds. Now we're working together.
What about HBI 2K?
HBI, I was just always like a huge fan of his work. He was one of the guys that inspired me to get into abridging, and then I'd message him back and forth, like even before I started my series. I asked him like what kind of video editing software he uses, and he's just a great guy. He's like really open, really connected, really down to earth, and yeah, pretty much the same deal. I kind of showed his work to Vegeta and started talking to him on like Skype, and yeah, then we all just kind of collaborated for a Christmas special, which was like just an awesome experience.
Would you consider having HBI 2K be part of the future DBZ Abridged movies?
It's hard to say right now, seeing as how it's really tough even splitting the parts evenly between Moscow, Vegeta, and myself. But you never know. I mean, time might arise for like a out-of-series cameo of some sort. By then, all means, yeah.
What inspired you to put up the Lanipator's answers?
Basically the fact that I kept getting a bunch of questions, like a lot of the same questions too, that I just kind of got tired of answering over and over again. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to dedicate a video to it rather than answer it over and over and over again. Okay, this is the video program I use. This is how I came up with my name. This is how I got into abridging, that kind of stuff.
How did you get Kyle Hebert to do that cameo?
I Touched Yusuke is a friend of his, and when I went down to Anime LA, she kind of introduced me to him, and we hung around for a while, and at one point I just thought, you know what, I'm going to ask him if he wants to, or if he can do a cameo, and yeah, he accepted. It was really cool. I mean, that was a big plus to going to Anime LA.
What's the hardest part of the production of Yu Yu Hakusho Abridged?
Depends on the time. I mean, sometimes I can, like, get up to a certain point in the show and then I have a horrible writer's block, which is a barricade, but most of the time the most tedious part is just the editing and finding the right clips to go with what.
How far do you see yourself abridging Yu Yu Hakusho?
As far as it takes me, I guess. I mean, God willing, I may go all the way to episode 112, plus the other movie.
What made you decide to rickroll everybody for April Fools?
I kind of like the idea, like, because when I originally got rickrolled myself, I noticed, like, I'm looking at the guy, I'm thinking, this guy looks like a real-life version of Kuwabara. And I thought, wait a minute, my 1-year anniversary is coming up in April, so I can put out a movie then, so why don't I make, like, an advertisement saying it's coming out in April, and then do this and, like, maybe do a little karaoke thing with it, which is kind of what I did in the second half.
Has there ever been a comment that just pissed you off?
Like I mentioned earlier, pretty much any comment saying, you stole that joke from Little Karibo. Those always kind of piss me off. I'm like, okay, he is not the most original person in the world, and I've never done anything like horribly explicitly to rip him off. I may have said a joke similar to his. The only thing I can really think about that I've actually done that he said is I did a little in America in the first episode, and you know what, I'd probably say I do regret that just because so many people call me on it.
What about the opposite, comments that uplifted you?
Anything with positive feedback, I guess. I mean, I'm a normal human. Anybody who says anything like, oh, great job, nice work, like anything that's, you know, bolstering to the ego, it's nice.
What other anime series would you abridge?
If I do happen to make it all the way through Yu Yu Hakusho, I have no idea. Because who knows, like, what people will be doing by then, or what animes might be out, or I don't know.